Hello and welcome to day 10 in Cambodia and the last of our video reports for the trip. We had breakfast at the hotel this morning and then drove through a very quiet city. It's almost a ghost town as people leave for the Khmer New Year and they go back to their villages. We drove to Nexus Center, had a wonderful Easter service, powerful worship, and then talked with great power and vigor about resurrection and just the joy of the Lord. We had an opportunity then to say goodbye to people that we worked with in this time and to say thank you to them for all that they've done for us. And then a quick lunch and a very quiet afternoon. We caught up with some sleep and rested a bit. And then this evening we had a lovely evening with Ruth Elliott from Daughters of Cambodia. We went to her home and shared a meal with her, and she reported on what they've been doing. Tomorrow we'll be going to the Daughters Center and Ant will be preaching at their service, and we'll be spending some time there. And then it's back home to pack for our trip the next day. Thank you so much for following this with us as we've gone through our time in Cambodia. Thank you for your prayer support. Thank you for your friendship and the messages we received and the encouragement we have received. And thanks to Akash, who's been our media man. He's always behind the camera, but he's been such a good media worker for us on this trip that you've had a really good, I think, report of what's been happening. God bless you. We'll see you back in England.
Hello everyone, and greetings from Cambodia to all of you at Forest Town. My name is Ruth Elliott, and I am the founder of Daughters of Cambodia, an NGO based in Phnom Penh that helps girls who are in the sex industry to be able to leave the sex industry and start a new life. So I started Daughters of Cambodia 16 years ago, but I have actually been living in Cambodia for 19 years. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story of why I came here and how Daughters of Cambodia was born. So it starts really when I was 14 years old. And at that time, I did not know the Lord. And I was living in despair. I had no hope for my life, and I wanted to kill myself every day. And at the age of 14, I started seeking the Lord and asking him to speak to me, even though I didn't know God. But I reached out to him and I asked him to speak to me if he was there. And I started reading my Bible avidly for hours every day. And to my surprise, the Lord did speak to me. And what he told me was not really what I expected to hear, but what he said was that he put a call on my life. And the call was from Isaiah 61 verses 1 to 3, to do with healing the brokenhearted and setting captives free. And he told me that this was a Moses calling, leading people in slavery out of slavery and into freedom. And he also told me that this was in Southeast Asia, which I had no knowledge of. I had never been there and I didn't know anybody from there, but this is what the Lord told me. So when I was 18, I came to Southeast Asia, and I was with YWAM, and I joined some teams that were doing evangelism in different parts of Southeast Asia. And one of the places I went to was Taiwan. In Taiwan, I was working in the red light area of Taipei City. And there was this street called Snake Alley with girls in cages along the street. And I couldn't help but want to talk to those girls and to ask them their name and how they got there and whether they wanted to be there. And I wasn't allowed to talk to them, and I didn't have the language, but I knew that those were the captives I was called to set free. So to cut a long story short, I trained as a psychologist because I figured it would be a useful skill to have. The Lord spoke to me to start this calling in Cambodia. And so I arrived in Cambodia 19 years ago, and I was employed by NGOs as the aftercare director in a model that existed back then called the raid and rescue model. It was the shelter model, where the places selling sex are raided by the police and the girls are put in shelters. And so I worked in this model for a while and began to see that the model wasn't working so well as it stood, because the girls all went back to the sex industry. 100% of them did that, not because they wanted to be in the sex industry, but because the root problems weren't addressed, which was the fact that they had to support their families by earning an income. And so in 2006, the Lord spoke to me very powerfully that He had not called me to Cambodia to do what I had been doing, but He wanted me to start a new model in which I would go into the brothels and invite girls who are living in darkness out into His light and out voluntarily by starting programs and businesses that would enable them to change their own lives, to voluntarily exit the sex industry. And so I started Daughters on January the 1st, 2007, with this model in mind that the Lord had spoken to me, which really involves giving girls jobs. So we have businesses that we run in order to give them jobs, which is their way out of the sex industry. So it's the first step. It's not the only step, but it's the first one. And then we address the recovery for them. So we teach them how to live life differently through various life skills, educational workshops and other programs. We offer them counseling and therapeutic help because they're in a big mess psychologically, and their domestic situation is in a big mess too. We give them medical treatment because their health is also in a big mess. We have a daycare for their children so that their children can be in a place of safety whilst they work here with us. We have some various other programs that are just life-giving programs, including music classes, self-defense classes, and different creative classes from time to time. And we have Christian programs where the girls can hear about Jesus and about the hope and the life that He can offer to them. So we have a church at Daughters, and we have various other programs to teach them the gospel, to teach them how to live their lives as followers of Jesus, and how to get free and walk in freedom through Him. So we have now been operating for 16 years, and we have helped over 800 girls be able to exit the sex industry during this time. So we are based in Phnom Penh, but we have found that our model is very practical and very transferable, and we have a vision to be able to expand this to some other countries overseas. This is one thing that you could please pray for us. We also we still do outreaches into the red light area to reach girls who are there. And as we've been doing these outreaches, I feel that it would be something very positive and life-giving if we actually plant a church in the red light areas as well. A church for anybody who's in that sector to come and hear the good news about Jesus Christ. So that is another thing that we are hoping to be able to do. We would love your prayers for all of this. We would love your prayers just for our continued operation, because it's been a very difficult time during COVID, financially and in other ways. So we really do thank you and love you, Forest Town, for partnering with us and for supporting us in all the ways that you support us. Also buying our products, which you do, and this really is a very big help. So we'd love to just send you our love and our greetings and invite you as well to come out here and visit if you'd like to, or just keep connected with us in all the ways that you do. God bless you.